Rich. Richie, how you doing, Barbara? So good
Good
to
Yontif.
see you.
Good Yontif.
Good Yontif.
Good Yontif, Richie and Barbara.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing good.
Hey,
How are the kids?
They're keeping us busy.
Well, thank God.
That's right.
that's their job.
That's it.
I just said to Richie, I like going to shul in my slippers.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
so do I.
I think Ann Kersner's on too.
Yes,
Yep.
it is. Yeah,
We are.
Robert.
Good Yontif.
Good
Good
Yontif.
Yontif.
No.
Hey, Aaron.
Let me see. All right, so
Oh, no,
I'm
that's
too dark, theory.
Richie, I
Yeah.
don't have my glasses on because it glares with the spot, you know.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
Glares,
Yeah.
so I don't have it on.
Well, when the service starts, I take mine off because I can see better.
Well, you
See, when you get older, Jerry, you can
You
see
look so much younger.
glasses.
you can get rid of the cataracts and you see better.
It wouldn't go like that.
I know.
That's for sure. The Scaff family is here.
What's one here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Ann.
Beverly,
Hello.
the nomad puppy. Here she is.
Oh, I gotta mute because of my dog.
Okay. Why, your dog can't speak to us? I thought on Yom Kippur, all the animals are supposed to be able to speak. Or is that another holiday? I'm not sure.
I'm still trying to figure out this Michigas.
Oh, yeah, well, it took me 3 weeks. So don't be embarrassed. My grandson had to come over and fix everything.
Hi,
Hi,
Beverly.
Beverly.
Hi, Anna. How are you? Good Yontif.
Good Yontif to you.
Barry,
Good Yontif.
good answer, Barry.
Barry.
Good Yontif, Beverly. I saw your name for Rosh Hashanah, but I didn't see you.
I was hiding.
How you doing, Beverly?
I'm good. I'm still trying to figure out the Zoom thing. I'm teaching Hebrew school down here by Zoom, and it's taken me a while to get it tuned in.
Yeah.
It takes a while. That's all right, though.
I need to call the 8-year-old next door to help me figure out this computer stuff.
You gotta get used to it. It's the wave of the future.
Ugh, forget it.
I can learn.
Before my dog starts to bark, I'm gonna mute myself again. See you guys later.
Okay.
Hi, Barry.
Hello.
Alex is there. Yeah. The Alex plus Alex.
Elena, that's a very nice item that you have the shul keyed in. It's very nice. Really quite lovely.
Yeah, and you know, for those who really like the overall view, you know, we're on YouTube also, and that's sort of an interesting thing to watch.
Is that pre-recorded?
No, live.
As a matter of fact, the day after Rosh Hashanah, I turned it on and I saw myself, you know, at the pedestal there, and it was very cool.
Yeah.
Barry, yeah, I got your message. We're all
Okay,
set.
good.
We're all set, Barry.
I hope everything else is all set too.
There we go.
It's like herding butterflies.
That's-
Very delicate work.
Yes.
Michael, I like that, Michael Perlman, good yontif. I
Good
like
yontif, everybody. Good yontif.
Good
the
yontif.
background. The background.
Good yontif.
Yeah, I put it back on. Leah has it too. Hi, Scott and Beth.
Knocked myself out of the Zoom room.
Yeah. I don't know how to do that background thing.
Okay. how many
As
could
you're
you call?
coming in, it lets you,
49.
there's a thing where you can choose background.
Oh, yeah.
And then you pick it from
Wow.
pictures. You had to have downloaded the picture.
Yeah.
Good yontif, everybody.
Three.
Bev Shapiro, it is very nice to see you.
Very nice to be
Oh, on
here.
our screen. And
Good
Michael,
yontif.
Michael Sales, hello. I'm not used to seeing you on my screen either.
Kristen is here.
Yeah.
About
Hello,
you,
Michael
Matt.
Sales.
I'm not surprised.
Love you guys.
The New Yorkers are with us.
Getting
You know,
ready for Yom Kippur
Yeah,
by
I
setting
got
up
this.
the
I'm gonna-
computer has to be one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced in my life.
You know,
Oh,
for
it's-
everybody,
Yeah,
for
Lucas.
everybody that knew Benjamin Resnick. So he gave me this and he says, next holiday, I want you to wear it, no matter where you are. So here it is.
What do you, oh, your bow tie?
Okay.
Got a bow tie. Do you remember him wearing all kinds of plaid shirts and bow ties? Sharon,
Jerry, wait, who are you talking about? I didn't hear.
Ben Resnick.
Oh, Ben Gay, oh, yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, he had a real fashion sense and definitely was into colors and bow tie.
Hi, Bev Shapiro.
Hey, how are
Sue
you?
and Emily and Matthew and Glenn are here too. Oh, long time no
Let's see
see.
who else is
It's
here.
nice to see everybody.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot more people I'm not even seeing. Hello, everybody I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, you have to scroll to see the rest of the
Didn't
people.
realize it goes on and on and on.
William Sue.
55.
I see we
Yeah.
have more people in Shul tonight.
Yeah, we got a menu.
Yom Kippur.
I think we have a minion, yes.
And before.
Beth, I cannot see you.
I know. Took a while to get
Richie,
here.
are you in Florida or are you in up north?
Up north, Barbara and I are up, Barbara and I are up north for right now. Yeah,
Oh, and
How long are you going to be around?
haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
No.
It all depends what's going on in Florida, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What's happening? You mean COVID wise?
Yeah. Yeah. We're very cautious.
Nobody
I
knows
don't blame you.
before. The governor just opened up the state to phase 3
Yeah, I know.
and they're all crazy down here. There's many people that.
Including the governor.
Yeah, yeah.
You were
They're
talking
all-
about Florida now? Yeah.
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 And when you go to the supermarket, are people wearing masks or not in Florida?
It
We have a
depends on
Florida
who
too.
they are. The ones that are bulletproof are not wearing them.
Say that again. I couldn't quite hear what you said.
The ones that are bulletproof are not wearing them.
Oh, yeah.
And where are you, Connie?
Hi, Anna.
Hello, Anna.
Anna.
Hi, how are you? We're on two different computers.
Where's Ed? I don't see him.
Yeah,
Ed
I
is on
don't
a
see
different
him either. I
computer?
don't know.
Oh, okay.
Shana Tova, everyone.
Danatova.
Not
I'm
the-
going to give you
Tova.
all 1 or 2 more minutes to say hello because it's really wonderful to
Yeah, I
hear
see his
everyone say
name,
hi to
but
their
not
friends
his
and to catch
face.
up, and we'll start in just another minute or two.
I love the smutty on your head, man.
Hi, whoever said that.
I did. Lynn Murphy over here.
Oh, hi, Lynn. How are you?
I'm over here, right in front of the show.
Oh, I'm
Great
inside.
background.
I'm outside.
You're outside.
Well, welcome in.
Thank you. Nice.
Oh, there you are.
Yep.
It's Jody. Is Jody with you?
Yep, say Jody.
Oh, hi, Jody.
You're on mute.
I don't know how many was there for Rosh Hashanah.
I could be.
Thank you.
Oh, there's another Jody.
Neil and Rhonda will be here too.
Too many Jodys.
Michael and Anne, that background is so weird. Anne is like being a ghost. You keep going away.
And this is your 30-second warning to get in any last greetings to friends and Shana Tova before we get going.
What is Shana Tova?
Well, my cousins Scott and Beth are on here, so that's great.
New Year would be
That's what you
Shana
say.
Tova. Shabbat Shalom means what?
You're on speaker.
Okay.
So not Tova, Mike and Ann.
Yeah, thank you. Same.
Hey,
Jerry, you do look very spiffy in that bow tie.
yeah, I want to look spiffy for the holiday.
All right, friends, we'll have a little bit more opportunity at the end of services for people who want to stick around and talk to each other and wish each other well. But for now, with a little bit of sadness, I'm going to put everyone on mute so that we can get going, so that you know, we can finish at some point before bedtime. I don't know if any of you are zooming in from your beds. I would hate to lose you right in the middle of Kol Nidre. Sorry, folks, hold on one sec. There we go. All right, now I believe we're live. Sorry about that. Shana Tova, everyone. It's really so wonderful to have those couple minutes just to hear you all, and for me to get a moment to look at the screen and see all the faces. It's almost like we're all here. I know we're not, and I'm not going to pretend that we are, but it was a really nice couple minutes right there. And in bringing us together in whatever ways we can, crossing physical space, I want to start this evening, before I hand it over to Ron, I want to start this evening by lighting candles, so that we can all enjoy the light of the candles, and all, like as I said on Erev Rosh Hashanah, when we look at the candles, it's like we're all looking at the same candles. And so I would like to light candles and say the bracha, so that we can really all start Yom Tov together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim. Amen. And we'll hold off on the Shechianu till someone with a nicer voice is up here to sing it for us. And the one other really beautiful ritual that I'm really missing when we don't have a room full of people is the opportunity to put on our talitot together. There's something that's just kind of magical, and really only happens once a year when we do this magical kind of flip all at once over our heads. And the Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, of course, because this is what he does, really nailed that feeling. So before we say the bracha, and those of you who have a talit, I invite you to put on your talit with me. But I just want to bring his sentiment into the room. Whoever put on a talis when they were young will never forget. Taking it out of the soft velvet bag, opening the folded shawl, spreading it out, kissing the length of the neckband, embroidered or trimmed in gold, then swinging it in a great swoop overhead like a sky, a wedding canopy, a parachute, and then winding it around your head as in hide and seek, wrapping your whole body in it, close and slow, snuggling into it like the cocoon of a butterfly, then opening would-be wings to fly. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit. And I'm honored to invite Ron Pressler up to lead us in Kol Nidre. And Alex, if you don't mind joining me on the bima to hold the Torah. And in just a moment, I'll put the text of Kol Nidre up on the screen. Sorry, I'll get it in 1 sec.
Or zaru ala tzadik kol yisrael simcha. 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 Vishiva shel malav uvishiva shel mata al dat hamakom ve'al dat hakahal anu matirin lihitpalel im havaryanim. Vishiva shel malav vishiva shel mata al dat hamakom ve'al dat hakahal anu matirin lehitpalel im havaryanim. Vishiva shel ma'ala uvishiva shel mata al dat hamakom ve'al dat hakahal anu matirin lehitpalel im havaryanim. Kol nidre vesarei vacharamei vekonamei vechinuyei vekinosei אחרים נא ודסר נעל על נפשתנה מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו עלינו לטובה כולו ניחרתנה והון כולהון יהון שרן שוויקין שוויתין בטלין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימין נדרנה לנדרי ושרנה לאסרי ושבותנה לשבות כל נדרי ושרי וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ונשתבנה ודחרימנה ודסרנל על נפשתנה מיום גיבורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו עלינו לטובה כולו ניחרתנה והון כולהון יהון שרן שוויקין שוויתין בטלין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימין נדרנה nidaran la nidre, vesaran la esare, o shavotana la shavot. Kol nidarei vesarei vacharamei vekonamei vechinuyei vekinosei ushevuot. Dindarna udishtabana udacharimna vedasarnal al nafshatana miom kippurim ad Yom Kippurim haba aleinu letova kulon nicharatna kulon yehon sharan shevitin betelin umevutalin la sharirin kayamin nidaran la nidre vesaran la esare o shavotana la shavot. Ve'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael elager hagar b'tocham ki lechol ha'am mishkaga v'nislach lechol adat b'nei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'tocham ki lechol ha'am mishkaga v'nislach adat b'nei Yisrael. V'lager hagar betocham, ki lechol ha'am bishgaga. Slachna le'avono ha'am hazeh, ki higodel chastecha, v'chasher nasata la'am hazeh, mimitzrayim v'ad heina v'shaham nehemar. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Yasher Koach, and thank you so much to both Ron and Alex for getting us off to such a beautiful start. It's really wonderful to have some familiarity in a year that is sorely lacking familiarity. In just a moment, we will get started with Mariv. I would first like to invite Fran Kaplan to do a reading to take us into Mariv. As soon as I can find her. Hold on one sec. Fran, you there? Oh, there we go. I got you. There we go. Whenever you're ready, Fran.
Right now. On this night of atonement, O God of forgiveness, on this night of atonement, we come before you, haunted by memories of duties unperformed, of promptings disobeyed, beckonings ignored. We confess that there were opportunities for kindness and service which we allowed to pass by in the year just ended. We are ashamed of sins committed with evil intent, as well as of follies committed unwittingly, or even with good intentions. Make us honest enough to recognize our transgressions, big enough to admit them, strong enough to forsake them. Humble us by showing us what we are. Exalt us with a vision of what we may yet grow to be. Keep us ever mindful of our dependence upon you and help us to understand your need of us. United with you in holy partnership, may we dedicate our lives to your law of love. Help us to create homes filled with joy and harmony, and to labor for peace among communities and nations. On this sacred night, grant us atonement and help us find serenity within ourselves. Kindle within us the fires of faith and set aglow our courage to live the words we pray.
Thank you so much, Fran. And with that, I invite you to rise, and we will continue with the Baruch Hu as we begin Marif.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Voed.
You may be seated, and we're on page 207.
Umavir Yom Umevi Laila Umavdil Ben Yom Hu Ben Laila Adonai Tzivaot Shemo Ehel Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Voed. Baruch Ato Adonai Hamarihi V'Haravim.
Amen. And we continue on the top of page 208. Let's read together in English. You have loved your people, the house of Israel, with infinite love. You taught us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai our God, as we lie down or rise up, we shall think of your laws and speak of them, rejoicing in your words of Torah and your mitzvot forever and ever. For they are our life and the fullness of our days, and on them we will meditate day and night. May you never withdraw your love for us. Baruch atah Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Ki hem chayeinu v'yorech yameinu uvahem negei yomaham v'halayla v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch Ato Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
And I'll invite anyone who would like to unmute themselves, and we'll join in for the Shema in the middle of 208 all together.
Nancy on or Sat. In a different one, I don't know. No, I click on that, didn't take me. The link didn't take me.
I'm looking to
Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam veshivtecha bebeitecha uvelechtecha vaderech uveshochbecha uvkumecha Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha.
And we'll continue in the middle of page 210, leading into Michamocha.
Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira besimcha rabah ve'amru chulam Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Mikamocha nedar bahar kodesh Nora tehilot Osei feleh Malchutcha ra'uvanecha Okei ayam lifnei Moshe Ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'nehemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugealo miyahad chazak mihimenu Baruch ato Adonai Gahal Yisrael.
Amen. And I invite you to join me on the top of page 211 in the English. Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully and to awaken again to life, our sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace, restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us, remove from us enemies and pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow, and remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over us and deliver us, and you are the sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us and over all the people of Israel and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'ahal
Amen. And we continue in the middle of page 212. If you would like, please rise.
Ki vayom hazeh yichaper aleichem letaher etchem mikol chatoteichem lifnei Adonai Titaru Yitkadal Veitkadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma Divera Kirutei V'yamlich Malchutei Bechayechon Ubiomechon Ubechayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Bagahala Uvizman Karib Ve'imiru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Le'olmei Olmaya Yitbarach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yitpa'ar Ve'yitromam Ve'yitnaseh Ve'yithadahar Ve'yitale Ve'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Berichu Le'ela Le'ela Mikol Birchata Ve'shirata Tushbechata Venechemata Ve'imiru Damiran Bilma Ve'imiruhu Amen.
We'll now take a couple minutes for silent prayer and reflection and meditation. If you have a copy of the Machzor, the Amidah begins on page 213. And we'll come back together in a couple minutes with Oseh Shalom. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 V'meru, amen. If any of you are standing, you may be seated. We'll continue in just a couple minutes with the slichot and the vidui. Tomorrow morning, we will read about the Azazel goat, the literal scapegoat, whom Aaron, the high priest, at God's command, lays his hands upon and releases into the wilderness. This ritual is part of the ancient nation's Yom Kippur cleansing. The goat wanders off, never to be seen again, presumably taking all of the nation's sins along with it. This idea of symbolically transferring our sins and our guilt through a physical ritual isn't foreign to us. Many of us make a point to perform tashlich every year, casting breadcrumbs representing our own misdeeds into a body of water, to be eaten by fish, or in the case of the Newburyport area, more likely seagulls, and carried far away from us as we head into the new year. There is another, less widely observed tradition of transferring our guilt onto animals, called kaparot. On the day before Yom Kippur, families will procure a chicken, swing it over their head in a circle 3 times, and slaughter it. Somewhere in this process, the sins of the family are transferred to the poor bird. The meat is traditionally sold and the money donated to the poor. I have participated in this ritual once as a teenager when I was living in Israel for the year. It struck me then as odd and violent, and to be perfectly frank, kind of gross. Even the upside, selling the meat and giving the money to charity, comes with an ick factor. Certainly, it's better not to let that food go to waste, but how would you feel about eating someone else's scapegoat, or in this case, their scape chicken? There's a reason the Azazel goat in the Torah is sent off into the wilderness, never to be seen again. That being said, I recognize how important it is to try different pathways to forgiveness. We each need to find the best way to excise our own demons. After all, that is why we resort to the 3-pronged approach of tshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah, thought, words, and actions, to create our own path to forgiveness and redemption. The process is different for everyone, and while zooming into services may be great for some people, others benefit from a physical ritual. I'd like to share a different take on the ritual of kaparot, coming from a Hasidic folktale as told by Rabbi Or Rose. A student of Rabbi Elimelech of Lizinsk went to visit his teacher the week before Yom Kippur. He remarked to the rabbi, "Rabbi, in all my years, I have never seen you perform the ritual of kaparot. Would it be possible for me to do so this year?" The rabbi responded that he performed a traditional and unremarkable kaparot ceremony, if you consider swinging the chicken over your head unremarkable. The rabbi recommended that if his student wanted to witness something truly special, he should visit Moishi, the local innkeeper. So on Erev Yom Kippur, this man went over to Moishi's inn. Moishi sat himself down in front of his fireplace, and after getting comfortable, he asked his daughter to bring him his 2 books of repentance. Moishi opened the first book, read its contents carefully, and began to weep. The book contained a complete list of the sins, all relatively minor, that the innkeeper had committed the previous year. After completing his reading, the innkeeper took the tear-soaked book, swung it over his head 3 times, and threw it into the fire. He took a deep breath, opened the second book, and repeated the ritual. This time, the list was much longer. He was reading a list of sins that God had committed the previous year. After completing his reading, Moishi again took the second tear-soaked book, swung it over his head 3 times, and threw it into the fire. It's no surprise that the innkeeper was driven to tears. After all, he was engaged in an intense process of spiritual confession. Imagine reading and writing a personal ashamnu that was a direct reflection of your actions over the past year. After writing this account, Moishi knew that an innocent chicken or a goat or even seagulls would not be able to remove his burden. Rather than attempt to transfer his sins, the innkeeper simply poured them out through his tears. He discovered a deeply personal path to forgiveness for himself on the eve of Yom Kippur. The other remarkable aspect of the innkeeper's kaparot was that he recognized that God needed his forgiveness as well. It's tempting to take the action of striking our chests too literally, to spend our time over Yom Kippur beating ourselves up, berating ourselves for everything we've done wrong. Even in our relationship with God, we must recognize that both partners bear some level of culpability. And so, rather than just acknowledging his own shortcomings, Moishi chose to use his tears to recognize God's shortcomings as well, to create a clean slate on both sides of the relationship. Tears hold a powerful place in Jewish tradition, and even in our Yom Kippur practice. There is a teaching in the Talmud that though the heavenly gates of prayer may close, the gates of tears never do. Whenever we are moved to tears, our prayers are elevated with a power beyond words. In fact, many people have a custom of making themselves cry during Ne'ilah, the closing service of Yom Kippur. But accessing those deep feelings can be extremely difficult. Other than encouraging Alex Eidman to sing more and more Leonard Cohen, I don't see myself as being in the business of tugging on people's heartstrings. So how do we open the gate of tears? Do we hope for a moment when tears come and catch us completely off guard? Mac and I have an annual Passover tradition of watching Disney's Prince of Egypt, a custom we adopted a number of years ago to fill in the actual Exodus story that feels so conspicuously absent from the Seder. This year, as we watched from our couch during the scene when Moses gains acceptance into his father-in-law's house, in the middle of the most joyous musical number in the movie, Mac looked over and caught me trying to hide the tears sneaking out the corners of my eyes. Even now, I'm not sure if I can fully explain what got to me. Whether it was the joy of the family celebrating together, my own knowledge of how the story of Moshe and Zipporah ends in conflict and pain, or some combination of the two. Yet despite my poor efforts to hide my emotion, I recognize looking back that a month into the pandemic, I was likely processing more than just the story of the rise of Moses as the leader of the ancient Israelites. I think I was experiencing a bit of the high holidays in April. Being open to that sort of vulnerability is at the heart of what we will be doing over the next 24 hours. The gates of tears open when our tears lead to realization, to a space of coexisting with our emotions, with ourselves. It doesn't matter if physical tears fall from our eyes. What matters to Moshe the innkeeper, are we able to honestly and fully open up and unburden ourselves? As we go through the list of the Ashamnu and the Alchet, the familiar acrostic lists of our shortcomings, over and over again, each line uttered is like a tear released. I don't expect any of us spent our time this morning swinging chickens over our heads or throwing books into fireplaces. But we have one more chance in this strange year of being alone and together to create our own Azazel. Let's come together this Yom Kippur to release our negative energy into the wilderness and begin the year with forgiveness for ourselves, for each other, and for God. And I'll call Alex back up to the bima, and we will continue with the beginning of Slichot on page 223.
Yahale tachanunenu me'erev v'yavo shavatenu miboker v'yehera rinunenu adarev Yahale kolenu me'erev v'yavotit katenu miboker v'yehera hidyonenu adarev Yahaleinu yeinu me'erev v'yavo slichatenu miboker v'yera nakatenu adarev Yahale menuseinu me'erev v'yavolevano miboker v'yera Kipurenu adarev Yahale yishenu me'erev v'yavotahorenu miboker v'yehera chinunenu adarev Yahale zichronenu me'erev v'yavo v'yehudenu miboker v'yehera hadratenu adarev Yaleh davkeinu me'erev mi'avoho gileinu miboker v'yehera bakashatenu adarev Yahale en katenu me'erev v'yavo elecha miboker v'yehera
May our prayers rise up at evening, coming to you with the dawn, transforming us at dusk. We continue on page 226, and I invite you to rise as we move to the lead up to the 13 attributes of mercy.
El erech apayim atah v'rachamim mikra. Ta'avor al pesha v'timche asham. Keyahom vayatzev imosham. Tazihin shavatenu v'tagshiv menu ma'amar. Keyahom vayikra v'shem Adonai. Vaya avor Adonai al panav vayikra Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun, Erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, Notzer chesed la'alafim, Nose avon v'afesha v'chata v'nakeh. V'salachta lavonenu chatenu nechaltanu. Slach lahanu avinu ki chatanu mechalanu malkenu ki fashanu ki ata Adonai tov v'salach v'rahav chesed lechol korecha. You may be seated, although if you are standing and sitting, there's going to be a lot of that in the next couple minutes. We continue on page 227. Ki hine kachomer behiyad hayotzer birtzoto marchib uvirtzoto mekatzer kein anachnu biyadcha chesed notzer labrit habeit ve'al teifen la'yetzer. Ki hine ka'even b'heyad ha'misateit birtzoto oches ubirtzoto mechateit kein anachnu b'yadcha mechayeh u'memotet labrit habeit ve'al teifen la'yetzer ki hine kagarzen b'hiya hadech harash birtzoto di begla'ur uvirtzoto perash kein anachnu mi'adcha tomecha hani barash labrit habeit ve'al teifen la'yetzer ki hine kahege b'yad ha'malach birtzoto oches uvirtzoto shilach kein anachnu b'yadcha el tov v'salach labrit habeit ve'al teifen la'yetzer ki hine kaschuchit b'hiyad ha'mezageg birtzoto chogeg uvirtzoto memogeg kein anachnu b'yadcha mochel zadon b'shegeg labrit habeit ve'al teifen la'yetzer. Ki hine kayiri'a beheyad harokeim birtzoto me'asher uvirtzoto me'akeim kein כן אנחנו בידך, החלקנו ונוקם לברית הבית, ואל תפן ליצר, כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף, ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף, כן אנחנו בידך מאמצי למזור טרף לברית הבית, ואל תפן ליצר.
And we'll continue on page 232.
El melech yoshev al kisei rachamim minayim. El horet alanu lomar shloshes rei, schor lanu hayom brit shloshes rei, kimo shodat le'anav mikedem kimo shekatuv, vayered Adonai be'anan vayatzev imosham, vayikra b'shem Adonai.
And we rise.
Vaya avor Adonai al panav, vayikra Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun, erech ha'chaim, v'chesed v'emet, noter chesed la'alafim, nose avon v'fesha v'chata v'nakeh. V'salachta ha'lavonenu, chatatenu nechaltanu. Slach lanu avinu, ki chatanu, mechalnu akenu, ki fashanu, ki ata Adonai tov v'salach, v'rav chesed lechol korecha. Ha'azin Adonai tefilatenu, v'akshiva b'kol tachanunoteinu, hakshiva l'kol shavenu, malkeinu Eloheinu ki lecha nitpala, tehina aznecha kashevet v'einach b'duchot el tefilat avadecha imcha Yisrael, v'shamata min hashamayim mimechon shivtecha, et tefilataham v'tichinotehem v'asita mishpatam v'salachta lamcha asher chatu lach krachem alav abanim kein derachem Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Yeshua lamcha b'chotechasel Adonai tzvot imanu miskav kosela Adonai tzvot asher adam boteach bach Adonai Oshia melech yaneinu v'yom kodeinu Silach no lavon amazeh kegodel chastecha v'chasher nasata amazeh mimitzrayim v'yadeina v'sham ne'emar
Adonai salachti kidvarecha.
Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha.
We continue on page 233. We rise as the ark is opened for Shema Kolenu.
Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu chus v'rachem aleinu v'kabel b'rachamim u'ratzon et tefilatenu.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu chus rachem aleinu v'kabel b'rachamim b'ratzon et tefilatenu.
Hashivenu Adonai Eilecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu כקדם.
השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
אל תשליכנו מלפניך, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו.
אל תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו.
אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו.
אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו. We continue on page 234.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu ki anu amecha v'ata Eloheinu anu vanecha ve'ata avinu anu avadecha ve'ata adoneinu anu kehalecha ve'ata chelkeinu anu nachlatecha ve'ata goraleinu anu tzonecha ve'ata roeinu anu charmecha ve'ata notreinu anu feulatecha ve'ata yotreinu anu rayatecha ve'ata dodeinu anu segulatecha ve'ata kiroveinu anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu anu mamirecha ve'ata mamireinu. Anu azefanim ve'ata rachum bechanun anu kishay oref ve'ata erecha ha'payim anu mle'ei avon ve'ata malei rachamim anu yameinu kitzer lohover ve'ata u'ushnotecha lo yitamu. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu tavo lefanecha tfilatenu v'al tita lami tchinatenu she'ein anachnu azefanim u'kshei oref loma lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu tzadikim anachnu v'lo chata'anu aval anachnu v'avotenu v'imotenu chata'anu.
And we rise for the Ashamnu and the beginning of the Vidui on page 235.
Ay, 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 ay. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu, Dofi. Ay, 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 ay. Evinu, Vehirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tofalnu, Sheker. Ay, 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 ay. Yatznu ra, Kizavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Niatznu, Sorarnu, Avinu, Poshanu, Sorarnu, Kishinu Oref. Ay, 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 ay. Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu.
And we'll continue with the positive vidui, the ahavnu. Those of you with a machzor can find it on the back cover.
Ay, 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 ay. Ahavnu, beirachnu, gadalnu, dibarnu yofi. Helinu, vechasnu, zeraznu, chamalnu, tipachnu emet. Ay, 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 ay. Yatznu tov, kibadnu, lamadnu, machalnu, nichamnu, solalnu, orarnu, poalnu, tzadaknu, kivinu la'aretz. Richamnu, shakadnu, tamachnu, taramnu, tikahanu.
And in just a minute, we'll continue with the next section of the vidui, the alchet. The alchet is always a little bit difficult. It's difficult for the reasons that any part of the confession is difficult in coming to terms with our own shortcomings, with our own misdeeds. It's also difficult because there's a lot here. And I find myself that no matter which language I'm trying to follow along in, Hebrew or English, just to keep up, I'm really racing along just to try to work through it all. And also in talking about it with Alex over the course of this week, we realized that this year we might also need to all go a little bit easier on ourselves, while also taking a little bit extra time and intention to really focus on our process of tshuva. So since we say the al-chet so many times throughout the next 24 hours, we're actually going to break it up into sections. And as opposed to just saying the first line or two in Hebrew and then kind of mumbling or spacing out through the rest, depending on your personal practice, we're actually just going to do one section in each service. And I'm going to read through them in English, and then Alex is going to take us through the classic Ve'al Kulam conclusion. So we're on page 237, and I invite you to read along with me in the English and to think a little bit more deeply about the actual sins or misdeeds or whatever you want to call them that we're listing in this section and how they're getting through to your heart this year. We have sinned against you unwillingly and willingly, and we have sinned against you through hardening our hearts. We have sinned against you thoughtlessly, and we have sinned against you in idle chatter. We have sinned against you through sexual immorality, and we have sinned against you openly and in private. We have sinned against you knowingly and deceitfully, and we have sinned against you by the way we talk. We have sinned against you by defrauding others, and we have sinned against you in our innermost thoughts. We have sinned against you through forbidden trysts, and we have sinned against you through empty confession. We have sinned against you by scorning parents and teachers, and we have sinned against you purposely and by mistake. We have sinned against you by resorting to violence, and we have sinned against you by public desecration of your name. We have sinned against you through foul speech, and we have sinned against you through foolish talk. We have sinned against you through pursuing the impulse to evil, and we have sinned against you wittingly and unwittingly. For these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elohai selichot slach lahanu mechal lahanu kapel
continue on page 240. Again, please read along with me in the English. May the one who answered Sarah pass the time of her youth, Hu Ya'anenu. Abraham on Mount Moriah, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Isaac their son bound on the altar, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Rebekah as her son struggled within her, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Jacob at Bethel, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Leah in her loneliness, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Rachel desperate for a child, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Joseph abandoned in prison, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered the Hebrew midwives as they stood at the birthing place, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Yocheved having faith on the bank of the Nile, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered the people Israel on the shores of the sea, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Moses standing on the slopes of Sinai, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Miriam with her well of water, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Aaron offering incense to God, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered Pinchas seeking his place above the crowd, Hu Ya'anenu. May the one who answered the daughters of Zelophehad standing their ground, Hu Ya'anenu. And may the one who answered those who are righteous, upright, decent, and compassionate answer us, Hu Ya'anenu. And we continue opening the ark with Avinu Malkeinu, which as we did on Rosh Hashanah, we will trade off verses in Hebrew and English.
Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha.
Our Creator who blesses us, we have no sovereign but you.
Agaleinu Mishamreinu Aseh Imanu Leman Shemecha.
You who seek us out and sustain us, make this new year a good one for us.
Odeinu Moshienu Batel Me'aleinu Kol Gezerot Kashot.
Ancient One, our rescuer, nullify the designs of our foes.
Zaneinu Menusenu Kale Dever V'cherev V'rab Ushviu Mashchit Ve'avahon Ushmami B'nei V'ritecha.
You who are our strength, who gives us life, rid us of every oppressor and adversary.
Tehoreinu Merachameinu Selach U'mecha Lechol Avonoteinu.
You who form us and instruct us, return us to your presence, fully penitent.
Koneinu Mecha Halkileinu Shelach Refuah Shlema Lecholei Amecha.
You, our beloved who raised us, remember us favorably.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua.
Avinu Mahalkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Chalkala.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Chalkala.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Zechuyot.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Zechuyot.
Avinu Mahalkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Selicha Umchila.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu B'Sefer Slicha U'Mechila.
Notrenu mefahaltenu hatzmach lanu Yeshua b'karo.
Our support and rescuer, cause your people Israel to be exalted.
Ezreinu makshivenu shema koleinu chus v'rachem aleinu.
Our Redeemer who watches over us, accept our prayer willingly and lovingly.
Menuseinu na'al tishivenu reika milfanecha.
Holy One who justifies us, remember that we are but dust.
Rachameinu mechayenu chamol aleinu v'al olaleinu v'tapenu.
Guardian who grants us victory, do this for the sake of those who were martyred for your holy name.
Tomchenu mesadeinu aseh lemancha imloho lemanenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have mercy on us, answer us, for our deeds are insufficient. Deal with us charitably and lovingly, and redeem us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Haneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Haneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu. Tzedaka v'chesed, aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed v'hoshienu.
And we continue with the full Kaddish on page 245.
Yitkada ve'yikada shemei rahaba be'alma divrakiruhute ve'yamlich malchute ve'chaye chonu v'yomechon uvechaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'hagahala ubisman kori ve'imeru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rahaba mevarach le'olam u'le'ol me'ol mahaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'par ve'yitramam ve'yitnahaseh ve'yithadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalal shemei dekucha.
Brichu.
Li'ehila, li'ehila, mikol birchata v'shihirahata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran mi'ama v'imru.
Amen.
Titkabel totonu ba'oton dechol Yisrael, Adam avuhon dibishmahaya ve'imeru amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shamarahaba min Shemayim v'chayim aleinu ve'ahalko hol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bihimrohomam hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'alko Yisrael ve'ahalko yoshvei tevel ve'imeru amen.
Amen. And we continue with Aleinu on page 246.
Aleinu l'shabeach
Ladon hakol latei gedula leotzer bereshit shelo
asanu ki goyei
haratzot velo samanu kimishpot hadama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. Banach אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים
לפני
מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
ונאמר
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad. And we continue on page 248 with the excerpt from Psalm 27, the psalm for the season of repentance, Achat Sha'alti.
Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai otav hakesh. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai otav hakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai lachzot benoam Adonai ulevaker beheichalo lachzot benoam Adonai ulevaker beheichalo.
And we'll continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on page 247. I'm going to invite you all to unmute if you'd like to participate. If you know you have background noise and you're not able to unmute, please be conscious of that as well. Page 247. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah
Amen.
ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach ba'amumei homaya
Maya.
yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechamata v'amiran ve'alma v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yoseh shalom imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshrei Tevel v'imru Amen. You may be seated. Let me just mute. Great. Shana Tova, everyone. Gemar Tov. First of all, before I forget, because somehow thank yous tend to slip my mind, thank you so much, and Yasher Koach, of course, to Alex and also to Ron for leading us so beautifully in services tonight. And thank you, of course, also to Rob, who was making the technology as smooth and seamless as humanly possible. Thank you, Rob. A lot of you are used to hearing an appeal in this time. We've been really honest about the fact that we're trying to keep things as short as possible, and that applies to an appeal as well. So I'm going to give you all the 30-second version, which is mainly our building has been closed, and that is heartbreaking, but the shul has never paused. There's been a tremendous amount going on both in our community virtually and also actually in the building to make it as beautiful and up to date as possible as soon as we can fully reopen our doors. And we're really asking you for two kinds of support. Any financial support you can give to the synagogue is so appreciated and helps us keep both the virtual doors and the real doors open. And the other kind of support is just we've had a tremendous amount of programming over the last year, definitely over the last 6 months, and we're hoping to continue that momentum going into the next 6 months and the next year. And so if you haven't been tuning in over Zoom, I know a lot of you are on this evening who have not tuned into other things over Zoom because the numbers are astounding, and I'm so pleased with that. But please, when you see something in the eBlast that looks interesting, give it a shot. I'd love to have as much participation as possible and as much enthusiasm growing around our community as we can headed into 5781. So thank you for all the support, both financial and spiritual, that you can share with us. It means a lot. And that's the appeal spiel for 5781. Other than that, we're back at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, same link. We're hoping to do Shacharit and the Torah service in about 2 hours, and then give you about an hour break, coming back for the sermon, Yisker and Musaf at 12:30. Joel, and again, all of this is on the same link. Joel Grossman will be leading meditation over Zoom at 3:30, and then we're coming together at 5 for Mincha leading into Ne'ilah. We're also going to have a special guest speaker at Mincha. The Reverend Ogun Holder is going to share with us his own personal Jonah story. Again, trying to get a new twist on some of the liturgy and traditions we're so familiar with. So we should have another fantastic day of services tomorrow with Alex Eidman at the helm. And with that, I'll wish you all Shana Tova one more time, and I'll call Alex up for his finale of Yigdal, which can be found on page 250.
Yigdal Elohim Chai
Yishtabach,
Tav
Yinei, Tel Mitziyuto, Echad Vin Yachid, Ki Chudo. Ne'elam v'gam ein sof le'achduto, ein lo demut haguf v'eino guf, lo na'aroch elav kedushato, kadmon l'chol davar asher nivra, rishon v'en reshit l'reshito, no adon olam l'chol notzar, yoreh gedulato malchuto, shefan nevuato netano. El anshe skulato v'tifarto, O kam b'Yisrael kemo she'od, Naviu ma'abit et tmunato,
Torah metnatan
le'amo el al yad nevi'o ne'eman beito, lo yachal Yifa'el ve'lo yamir lato. Le'olamim lezulato, tzofeh v'yodea zetahareinu. Mabit l'sof davar dekadmato, gomer lish chesed kemifalo, noten l'rashara kerishato, yishlach leketz yamin meshichenu, liftot mechakeketz yeshuato, meitim Michael berov chasto, Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato, Meitim Michael berov chasto. Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato. Shana Tova, Yasher Koach, Kamar Tov. I'll invite you all to unmute if you'd like to get another couple minutes to say hello to your friends and family.
Everybody talk at once.
Thank you, Shana.
Bye, everybody.
Shana Tova.
She's probably over here.
Shana Tova.
There she is. There she was. No, she isn't. There she is. She's over there. Hi, Beth and Scott. Bye.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike and
Hi, Mike and
Sava,
Hi.
Barry, Barbara.
Hi. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Paul.
Beverly. Leslie Bateman, hello.
So nice to see all of you.
Oh, look at the dog.
Whose dog?
Oh.
Hi.
Judy and Steve.